Hi everyone, my name is Gabby and today we are with Norbert Mercredi and he's going to teach us how to make a handmade bow for the Manitoba Indigenous Games Handmade Bow Archery Division. First, you're going to want to harvest the wood to create your bow. Norbert took me to the bush to find the perfect chokecherry tree. To find the perfect chokecherry tree, you have to find one that is straight, long enough, and doesn't have too many knots or branches. Once you found the one, you're going to cut the base of the tree with a saw. But first, Norbert taught me how to give thanks to Creator before harvesting.
So for me, when I find something that I think I'm going to be using in regards to this particular tree here, I always put tobacco down. So the tobacco is just a giving of thanks for the use of the tree and for the Creator providing us with the tree to use for what purpose we have. And the purpose that we have is that we're going to make a bow out of this particular tree. So that's how we say our prayer. So in most times we don't kneel necessarily, but I might be down on the ground saying a prayer. So I would offer the tobacco to the Chimani too, and then I would offer to the ski, a ski, and then I would offer tobacco to the tree. And then after I've said my prayer to all this offering of the use, I would just put the tobacco down on the location. What I would do is that I would say, Kachimanito, Tinanaskamitin, Gaminiak, Tabatistak, Mistik, Matago, Nandositayak, Tanust, Magay Pitutamak, Tinanaskamitin, Chimanto, Gaminiakuma, and Pimatsrid. Kwesti tutamago taski. Tinanaskamitin. Iptiga po, disnikasan.
You're going to want to cut the other end of the tree so that you don't have to carry the entire tree back home with you.
After you use the tree, you stand it.
Stand it back up. Then we headed back to start carving our bow. First, we have to make sure we have the right height for our bow.
This one? So it goes to about under your armpit?
Just the armpit, yeah. Just under the armpit. Or if you're looking in regards to the sides, it's also good to look at it like underneath your chin.
Okay.
To the sides.
It's almost like a hockey stick under the chin.
Yeah, this is pretty close to where I would be. It's straight about it. It would probably be up here.
Okay.
You don't want it to be any longer. In regards to long, but this is a good size for me right now because it's just where it is.
Right.
So maybe in regards to really looking at chest high and armpit size high, but there are measurements that they use. Some people say 52, some people say 72, some people say whatever.
Okay.
Right?
Okay.
So I always say that it's way taller than you, that's way too long, right?
Yeah.
So your body height probably a good measurement, but for me, I would say more chest high.
Okay.
Because that's what my bow sizes are.
Yeah.
Chest high.
Okay,
But
perfect.
that's just looking at it.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's not putting.
You're not measuring
That's
it.
not putting a tape
No.
to it. So I would say that chest high is probably a good gauge in regards to what size you should have as a bow.
Perfect.
And then of course there are a smaller bow made properly, is much stronger than the longer bow.
Really?
Yeah, because the shorter bows are for power,
Right.
and the longer bows are for long distance shooting. So that's why they call them long bows, because they're used for that shooting far, so that you could hit somebody on the head. That's brilliant. That's it.
Awesome.
But also the shorter bows, if you're using them on anything that relates towards hunting, and you're using something like a horse, that's why we had so many good horsemen to be able to shoot at those buffaloes with those bows. They didn't have a long bow with them. That'd be too cumbersome.
Yeah.
With a short bow like that, with the power.
Norbert uses various carving knives, but all you need is a sharp knife that can cut through wood. Before you start carving, you want to take off any bark. Make sure you leave space in the center of your bow for your handle. If it's a young tree, you may want to keep some of the bark on the side of the bow that faces away from you. This will help give it more power.
And as I take off the bark, I start to shape. And as I start to shape, I start to cut more piece off of the wood itself until I'm able to get to the point where I have made enough cut from the wood, and then I can make a bend to the bow. So that's the spring that you're going to get in regards to the bow itself. And that takes time. It's not something that you can do in a few minutes. It will take you a few hours, a couple of hours, to be able to make that particular shape so that you're able to get that bend on the bow. What I normally look for when I'm cutting the wood in regards to taking the wood off is that there's usually in the wood itself, as you're cutting, you'll see a center part
Right.
that comes. What I find is that if I get to that center part, I'm pretty well where I want to be in regards to
Okay.
that wood.
Yeah.
So I try to stay within that because I can see it in regards to seeing it. And then I'll go up a little higher. And then as I'm going up a little higher, I'm starting to see that center part here. See? Here. And then I go up a little higher and I'll keep cutting. And I always go to one side and I cut the edges. And then when I cut the edges, I can see that there's a lot of white wood underneath, which means it's still thick, which is okay, because that's what you want to see. You want to see that thickness. You don't want to see too narrow here. So this area right here would have to be cut more, so that you can get this even pull. Like an even pull. It's not looking bad right now. You have to the bow itself. And then you would make your area where you're going to tie the string to. You have to a notch on each side so that you can tie your bowstring to that area. And you do both sides. Like I said, there's other types of trees that you can use. The ones that we have here, like I said, are the ash and the choke cherry and oak. You can also use other types of trees like birch, tamarack, or any type of tree that bends, like maybe even diamond willow is always something that can be used as well in regards to using it for a bow. There are special ways of tying it in regards to the bow part of it. I just tie it as, I use twine, and the twine that I use is doubled or tripled. If I triple it, then I braid it. I braid the twine to make it stronger. And sometimes I use the paracord. But I only use it for what I call tillering. when I'm tillering the bow itself, which would look like this in regards to tillering. So I would just ply the bow. I would do this with it in regards to tillering the bow.
So that shapes it.
To shape it, yeah. So if I'm doing this, then I get to see that where else maybe I need to cut a little bit more, right? But this one is not too bad, it's fairly even. So that's why I want to put the sinew backing on it, because when I put the sinew backing on this particular bow, it's going to be a lot stronger. It's going to have more power and more force to a shot. So that's what I use for lines in regards to your bowstring. You can also go buy it in the store if you wanted to, but you have to make sure you are able to make a bow that's the size of that string. Alright, it's ready already. So this is a bow that I've been very proud of. It's so bad that it broke because it was much better than being able to shoot.
Nice. Can I shoot it?
Naast wit nou en dit te week. Dan zit deze doet te make more comes to time. I want to thank you for listening to me today and doing what it is that we're trying to do here. In this case, making a bow out of a choke cherry tree. Thank you.
Thank you everyone for joining us, and thank you so much Norbert for sharing all of your knowledge with us. And we really, really look forward to seeing you guys with your handmade bows.